Welcome to the Gooch podcast. Welcome to the Discheads podcast. I am your host, Jacob,
And I'm here as well.
and here's my guest star, Lachlan.
Wow, thanks for letting me into my own house and setting up my microphone on my computer.
This was, of course, all my idea. Do you remember the conversation we had?
I do. It was something along the lines of, "Hey, extremely attractive bearded one.
That could be either of us. What?
Yeah." Yeah, that was about the entirety of the conversation. You said something about my beard, and I stopped listening.
Then I was like, "Hey, you know what? We should do a podcast." And you're like, "Yeah, sure." And then I did all the heavy lifting, and I did all the editing, and then I slayed a dragon at some point.
Oh, so it's your fault that the podcast came out like 6 years after the previous episode because you edited. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Uh-oh.
Well, yeah, we released an episode the other day. You're welcome. Hopefully this episode has actually come out reasonably close to that one and not like 6 years after. I keep saying 6 years. It's very specific.
It is. I think you're marking this podcast with the number of the beast. So,
Well, it is episode 6, so
yes,
episode
episode 6. We should probably make this go for at least 66 minutes and 6 seconds.
Okay, we can do that. And then even if we go longer than that, we'll just cut the episode. We're mid-sentence, just cut it off.
Play like elevator music for the entirety of the runtime.
So, this is the first episode we've ever done next to each other.
Yes, I'm now, as the song goes, close to you. Grabs knees.
He could have actually grabbed my knees, but instead he did a stage direction. He had the ability. He had the ability to touch me for the first time, even before marriage.
I thought we weren't bringing this up.
We're not bringing this up. We're moving on. Hey, do you like movies?
I like sex. I mean, I like before marriage. Oh shit. Yes, I like movies. Do you like movies?
I like movies.
Yeah.
You seen any movies?
I saw Toy Story 4.
Did you see Toy Story 4? Wow. You saw Toy Story 4 before the last podcast we did. I was just a piece of shit and hadn't seen it yet. So we've seen Toy Story 4, and we're going to talk about it because that's generally what we do on this podcast. We drone on about movies for an uncomfortably long period of time.
If you haven't picked up already.
Yeah, but we're going to talk about Toy Story 4 and maybe some other fairly recent releases. Not exactly new releases, but...
Releases is in movies and not the release of the discharge that was my gooch.
Jacob. Actually, before we talk about Toy Story, I have a bone to pick with you.
Mm-hmm.
I visited your house last weekend, and now you're here visiting mine.
Mm-hmm.
I saw something on your wall when I was visiting you.
Don't do it. I'm begging you, please don't.
This man has bullied me.
No shay.
This man has bullied me for owning the Predator steelbook, but he has a poster on his wall of the Predator. What say you, guilty one?
Okay, it came free in a magazine, and I thought, you know what? I like the Predator, not the movie. I like the original Predator, but the poster for the new one's cool, and I couldn't be fucked buying the poster for the original movie, so I just put it up on my wall. And now, because Lachlan pointed out this monstrous act of hypocrisy, I have now got a Sharpie and crossed out the.
I have footage of it. If I'm bothered, I'll put the footage here. Wow, look at that! Amazing, incredible.
Oh no! This is pretty damning footage you've got here. I'm gonna go into hiding for another 6 months.
Oh, good. That saves my editing hands. Toy Story 4. What'd you think, Jacob? I think we have slightly differing opinions.
Yeah, only slightly. I enjoyed it a lot, but
But
it's probably the worst in the bunch.
yeah, it's my least favorite of the 4, but I still think it's like a millimeter off being a perfect movie yet anyway. So, I mean, just as a whole, the whole franchise is just, it's great. It's perfect. I thought it was great, Jacob. I thought it was great.
See, now that we made pretty intense eye contact, I can feel it in you whenever you say it's great. It's a pretty special moment.
See, I feel like most of the bullying you've done for me saying that I thought it was great has been off air, not actually on the podcast, so people might not even realize. If you haven't noticed, I say it a fair bit. Go back and listen to the previous episodes.
But to be fair, like today, you didn't do it with much gusto.
No, you've ruined it.
Back then, it was. I thought it was great. It was almost musical.
Yeah, you've ruined my catchphrase now. I had printed out like T-shirts and everything, and now I've had to burn them.
To be fair, I don't think I was the one who brought it up to you. You were the one who brought it up, and then I just started bullying you for it.
Yeah.
You're like, I noticed I do this a lot. I was like, yeah, you do, you piece of shit.
Do you want to tell people what you've been bullying me about the last 24 hours?
Your small penis.
That's not what I was going for, but laugh it up, fuzzball.
Small penis syndrome. I can't remember.
Good, we'll move on.
Whatever. Oh yes. Okay, if we're in the mood for shaming, we were
Kink shaming,
slut shaming. Lachlan is the biggest whore I've ever come across.
True, I'm a whore.
He's a 4K whore. Speaking of 4Ks, we were in JB Hi-Fi as of yesterday. Did your testes just vibrate?
My testes just vibrated. I left it in earlier. Whoops.
Sliding out. We were in JB Hi-Fi, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were walking down. I was gonna say the aisle. That sounds.
That's why he's visiting me this weekend.
Ultra homo. But yeah, we're walking down the Blu-ray aisle, hand in hand.
I'm picturing my wedding down the Blu-ray aisle.
I can imagine this incredibly pissed off looking, just like JB Hi-Fi employee just chucking rice at us. But we're walking down, and as we're just searching, I noticed there's an Alfred Hitchcock movie pack.
What you said? Your friend owns that collection or something like that?
Yeah, I was like, a friend of mine owns this collection, and it's pretty good. It's got a lot of good Alfred Hitchcock movies. And then Lachlan, in a stage of just utter brilliance,
in his finest hour.
In his finest hour. This is.
Do you want me to say what I said, like verbatim?
Yes.
Okay. So I look at it. I pick it up. I look through the movies, and I go, it's missing like this collection's only M. It's missing like some of his most famous work. Like where's Full Metal Jacket, A Clockwork Orange, Doctor Strangelove, The Shining? Like it's missing like his most famous movies. And then Jacob walks over to me and just whispers in my ear,
"That's Stanley Kubrick." Lachlan.
And the look on my face as you said that.
You went like, yeah, that was the most embarrassed I've ever seen you look. And I didn't give you much shit for it then because I didn't want to embarrass you too much. But then I don't know why. Maybe it's.
I think it's the fact that I brought it up. I was like, Jacob, I'm really thankful of the fact that I said the most stupid shit ever, and you haven't bullied me about it.
See, that's the bad thing, is that you should have just left it, and then I wouldn't have bullied you.
I deserved it.
Strike one.
It was very embarrassing that I got Hitchcock and Kubrick fucking mixed up. My bad.
Yeah. Well, actually, I watched Clockwork Orange a couple of nights ago. It is my favorite Hitchcock movie. But I know Hitchcock is very gratuitous. Toy Story 4, yes.
Toy Story 4. It's a movie that I really, really, really liked, and the movie that you liked.
I did. I thought this one was, even though it was good and I think it had a pretty solid ending, I thought it was pretty thematically shallow for the majority of it.
See, we're not going to go into spoilers, but the ending is the bit that I question the most because I'm not sure that it earned its ending, or just that I didn't. I'm not sure I believe that those characters' motivations were. What am I trying to say, Jacob?
Those character motivations were earned.
Yeah, those characters would have those motivations and do that ending.
Make those decisions.
Considering the 4 films of build up like to it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. It's hard. It's hard to talk about it without spoiling it. But
this kind of suffers a bit of the Indiana Jones 4 dilemma, where the 3rd film in the series was the end.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then this has any further movies has the potential to be just another add-on.
Yeah, especially with me, because I I tell everybody this, that Toy Story 3... See, most people would say their favorite film in the franchise is probably the first or the second. A lot of people say the second one. For some reason, Toy Story 3 is my favorite of the franchise, to the point where it's like one of my favorite films of all time. I fucking love Toy Story 3. I will guaranteed bawl my eyes out at the end of the movie every time. So I was of the crowd saying this movie, Toy Story 4, should not exist. I was angry at the fact that it existed. The trailers came out. I was like, it looks fucking awful. I hate the fact that this exists. I was very pleasantly surprised that it's an excellent movie. Honestly, it's probably the film to show people in response to complaints about continuing a franchise after it's already ended.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones is obviously a horrible example. I was very concerned because Toy Story 3 has such a perfect ending to me. And I do think this movie detracts from the ending, but not enough to lessen my enjoyment of this film.
The thing is, with the ending of Toy Story 3, I don't know if we're spoiling Toy Story 3 or not.
Let's keep it vague.
A character departs.
Yes.
And everyone says goodbye. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure everyone would have seen it by now. But yes, character departs, everyone says goodbye. It's technically not the end of their journey, of their lives.
Yeah.
But it felt like the end of the story.
Mm-hmm. The Toy Story.
The Toy Story. But... You know, it actually just took me 5 seconds to realize you just made that pun.
Just in case we haven't actually said this yet, it is after midnight. I think it's close to 1 a.m, and we're both very tired. So bear with us. This is 2 episodes in a row I've used this excuse that I'm very tired, but...
we are all very tired. We both went to bed at 2 days in a row.
2 days in a row, 4 a.m, that's right.
He was being a good little foot soldier and
editing the podcast.
while I was just sitting on the couch
watching a sleeping bag.
Watching PewDiePie play Minecraft. I feel like this movie, Toy Story 4, should have been made probably, in order to make it feel a little bit more earned, should have been made like 10 years after. When did Toy Story 3 come out?
2011?
2011, something like that. It probably needed to come out a little bit later, so it had
close enough.
So it probably had that more of like, oh, we are revisiting it, and this is the final one, as opposed to like
8 years is a pretty long time.
It's a long time. It doesn't feel like a long time because I don't know. It just doesn't feel long.
Because Jacob's just lost the concept of time.
Yeah. Go to bed at 4 a.m. everyone.
He still goes to school each morning, and they have to turn him around and walk him out of the school.
You will not believe the amount of odd looks I get from people. I'm still wearing like the uniform and shit.
He's wearing his same uniform he had when he was a kid. He hasn't bought new sizes. He's just wearing skin-tight school uniform.
Sitting in the front row of the kindergarten class, raising my hand. I brought in this stuffed animal for show and tell.
Miss Irvine, why is Toy Story 4 being made when Toy Story 3 was Kino?
Sit down, Jacob. Show and tell time.
I brought the Stanley Kubrick collection. It's got Psycho and the birds.
This is the 13th time you show that. Show something else. This is my inhaler.
But fucking goddamn, we apologized endlessly last episode that it was going to be just an incomprehensible mess. And this episode is also going to be that. So we apologize again.
We've been going good so far, but yeah, Toy Story 4 is I think what I mean by thematically dry is that what's the first movie about, essentially?
Yeah, they're all variations on the same theme.
Yes.
But yeah, okay, I don't have any back for that.
Central theme is kind of like friendship and rejection, I guess. Mm-hmm. But
I mean, story wise, they all go through the same leaps and bounds, I guess.
Oh yeah, but I think the first film was basically about friendship and jealousy, and being able to handle a new person, which is cool. Second film is about, honestly, like you probably remember Toy Story 2 more than me because I haven't seen Toy Story 2 in ages. It's about
he gets kidnapped. Woody gets kidnapped by Al.
Big Al.
Yeah, and
9000 AL.
He gets kidnapped by 9000 AL Films. He says, "Your first movie was good, but it could have been better."
Roll credits. 6 out of 10. But yeah, that film is about again probably friendship and jealousy.
Yeah, Stinky Pete's jealous of Woody.
Stinky Pete's jealous of Woody, about like what we use toys for. But Toy Story 3 is all about abandonment and learning to move on.
Yes.
This film is about abandonment and moving on, probably to a greater extent. Like it probably is the one that focuses the most on the idea of rejection.
Expands on the ideas of the third movie, I guess.
I guess so. To the point where I dare say it might betray some of the characters a little bit, which is why you probably think the ending is not too deserved.
I think it, yeah. I think that all of the new characters they bring in are great.
They are.
I enjoy every single one of them, but it does sideline a lot of the actual main cast. Like, Woody's in it a bunch. He's still the main character. Buzz isn't in it that much, and they made his character a moron for some reason. Not complaining, because I find it very funny in the film, but he is a fucking idiot in this one, more so than the previous ones. But the rest of the gang are almost not in it. They have maybe 1 or 2 lines of dialogue each. Like, when I say gang, I mean like Rex, even like Jesse.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rex, Potato Head, all those. Yeah, they barely speak.
They're all confined to the area of one van.
Yeah.
Throughout the majority of the film.
They don't have much to do, which is funny because they're in all the promotional material. They're the posters.
Of course, they're in the promotional material. It's all like,
but like
they want to sell toys.
What I mean is the posters will have like 3 or 4 characters on it. It'll have Woody, a couple of the new characters, and then like Rex. And it'll be like, well, why is Rex on the poster? Rex isn't in this movie, basically.
Pretty much. They bring back Bo Peep, which I thought was kind of a shit moment in 3, where you're like, oh, Bo Peep's gone.
I thought it was sad. Sad that she's gone. Woody seems very sad about it. I like that I like that they expanded on it at the start of the film.
Yeah, that's a great moment at the beginning where they explain what happened to Bo Peep.
It is full of great moments, this film. What I do give it praise for is its villain in particular being less one-dimensional than the previous 3 villains.
Well, maybe just less obvious. Is probably like less obviously a villain.
Oh yeah, they're not one-dimensional characters, but they are fairly clear-cut villains. Whereas this character,
would you say evil?
Yes,
I almost did the voice.
This character has a bit more to do than the other ones. They basically, aside from Sid, so Sid's just plain evil. Then the next 2 films, they're characters that start off as friendly and good, and then reveal themselves to be evil.
Yeah.
And this one, I'm not going to say because you get very little about the character in the trailer, so I'm not going to say what happens, but is much more interesting.
Yes, she has this character. Like this character has probably the best arc in the movie, of like the most heartwarming arc in the movie.
Yeah.
Which is kind of annoying considering how everyone else was sidelined, and you're like, oh, this character who
we don't actually know
very well,
is
getting so much attention, and it's not like it's not like she has that much involvement in the plot too much, like other than like keeping a character hostage, I guess they could very much plot wouldn't be too affected without it. Like she's just sort of she's just sort of there, and then the story just kind of has to revolve around her, and you're like, it feels like a bit disregarding to those characters.
Yeah,
to
you have actually just reminded me. So the story crux is about Bonnie, the little girl that owns all the toys now. Yeah. She goes to her first day of kindergarten, and she makes a new toy called Forky. Now, watching those trailers, I was so terrified of this character because I thought he's going to be the most annoying fucking character ever. What did you think of Forky? Because I fucking loved Forky.
I liked Forky a lot.
Pretty much every single line of his got a chuckle out of me, which is very surprising to me considering I thought he was super annoying in the trailer.
See, that's what I thought he was going to be. I thought he was just going to be a typical like high-pitched, squeaky cartoon character.
Yeah, character that's just there to scream and be obnoxious.
But it's kind of funny because what makes him hilarious is in a really dark way is that he's kind of...
He just wants to die.
He's just tragic. He's a freak of nature in a way. he's made out of a spork, and got googly eyes, and he just somehow gains sentience, and like he's questioning his existence. He's like, am I trash or am I fucking? Which, again, even his story kind of gets pushed to the side a little bit. It's like this character's arc is, does he learn to be a toy or anything like that? It just sort of like the whole plot is sort of revolves around this character who doesn't really change, and that's Forky. So Forky gets lost, and Woody believes that he has to get Forky back
because he's
Bonnie.
He's the most in toilet porn to Bonnie right now.
Yes, he's the most important toilet porn to Bonnie at the
He's
moment.
the most intolerant toy.
He's just a bigot. He's the most important toy to her at the moment. So you set up a character who's questioning his existence and his place in the world, and then doesn't really go anywhere. Even though I liked the character, I was like, what was kind of his point other than to get the characters from one place to another? And I get that his story isn't the main story, but like the story is mostly Woody's, but it's not too obvious. It sort of becomes that towards the end.
What are you saying, Jacob? You saying Forky's name should have been MacGuffin?
MacGuffin? Lazy plot device? No, it wasn't lazy.
What if that happened? What if Bonnie's like, I'm gonna name you MacGuffin?
And then just looks at the camera and winks. And then the
lifts up a can of Coke and starts slapping it.
I can't talk. It's giving me a headache.
Well, let's talk about the other new characters. So we got Forky, which we really like. So we like the villain.
Gabby, her name? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Who else have we got? So we got Bunny and Ducky, voiced by Key and Peele, who I also thought would be really annoying, but I actually found them pretty funny as well.
Bunny and Ducky? Yeah. They were funny.
And then we've got the most wonderful man in the world, Keanu Reeves, doing Duke Kaboom. This man can do no wrong, Jacob.
Except for Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Okay, but that's not his fault.
Well,
he was just miscast.
Very, very miscast. Yeah, Duke Kaboom. Yeah, he's a funny side character.
He's wonderful.
I remember somewhere reading somewhere that he didn't have that much of a character, and like in order to get into his role, Keanu, I don't want to say forced, he's not a very forceful person, kind of said, what's his motivation? Why is he the way he is? And they said, fuck it, we'll just give him a tragic backstory.
And it's great. It's hilarious.
There's something very tragically, there's a real dark sense of humor that runs throughout the Toy Story movies that I love, that like each character has a real like hilariously tragic backstory.
Yeah. Toy Story in general has got a lot of dark stuff to it. Like every film has its really scary moments that you think it's weird for a kids movie.
Yep.
The first movie's got the deformed, mutilated toys, especially the zombie army men climbing out of like the play.
Sid's Frankenstein creations.
Yeah. Sid's Frankenstein's creations. The second one's got the dream that Woody has.
That used to fuck me up a little bit.
Yeah, you know which one I'm talking about? Where he gets dropped in the bin.
Yeah. I don't want to play with you anymore, and then drops him through a deck of cards in this really trippy dream sequence. Yeah. I remember that. It used to make me very uncomfortable.
Third one's got the baby toy. That's freaky. It's got like the lazy eyelid.
Yeah.
It's this big giant monster. And they also torture Buzz one bit. This one has the dummies.
If you're afraid of like ventriloquist dummies or like really old dolls.
Yeah.
and
enter at your own risk. Because they're fucking freaky.
What is it with doll-themed, toy-themed films coming out this year? You have like Annabelle, not Creation.
All within the space of a month. Really, yeah. Toy Story, Annabelle Comes Home, and you're still calling it Annabelle Creation. I was almost calling it that all weekend.
Annabelle Far From Home is what I was calling it at some point.
And Child's Play.
Yes, Child's Play had some good promotional material for that.
It did. It was very entertaining. If you haven't seen it, basically they copied the promotional posters of other films, but had Chucky like brutally murdering the toys. Yeah. It was great.
Well, part of the reason why, even though we do kind of feel a bit upset that some of the characters we know and love are sidelined a bit, I was actually kind of a bit grateful. Yeah. And I'll explain why. Because I don't know whether or not it's just me. The entire time I was watching Toy Story 3, and even some of like the little short films that they had, short Toy Story skits that they had following it, I felt that at some point there was just too many characters.
Okay.
So I was like, because I've noticed that very rarely is there a moment to sort of relax a bit. So there's moments where when when there's a whole group of like when all the toys are there, it feels like every single toy is fighting to have a line. Like, oh, Slinky's got to talk. Oh, Rex has got to talk. Mr. Potato Head's got to talk. And it just feels like, and it's not really like stuff that really adds to the dialogue. It's like if some person would go, "Oh no, that sucks," and they'll just cut from like 20 people's reaction to one thing.
I
It's
get
like,
you.
and that was happened a lot in Toy Story 3, and I was like, oh, that'll annoy me a lot because it's just like because it kind of just reminds me of that scene in Bohemian Rhapsody where where it is the classic editing scene with with Littlefinger, whatever, what's his name again in real life, Aidan Gillen playing John Reed, and all the Queen band members sitting around the table, and it just has to show every single person's reaction to and you must be Queen. I know he's Shrek, but he's yeah. So like other than that, so I can understand why even they sidelined a lot of the characters, because even they at Pixar were probably like, we don't have to have every single character in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
If that was the case, I'd be like, we're fighting for lines to have, and there was already so many toys introduced in number 3.
Yes.
And there's heaps more introduced, not heaps more, but a lot more reintroduced into 4.
Yeah.
It would have been just a shit show.
That's a good point, I guess. You can only juggle so much shit at the one time. So I guess, sidelining them to just have a smaller roster of characters does work. And probably, it does work in the movie's favor.
Yeah.
Instead of being detrimental. But it is just, I do want to hear my little buddies speak.
We all want to see more of Buzz.
Yes.
But I do think that the ending, I feel that it probably should have been hinted at earlier on. Oh, yeah. It is hinted.
It is, but I still don't think it was quite there yet.
Yeah, it needed a little bit more because the for a long time the story isn't about that.
Yeah, because I feel like we're really like dancing around the actual spoiler, because I feel like in the previous scene characters are still behaving in a different way to the way they do at that ending. So I'm like, I don't know if you really would have done the things you did, but yeah. I'm not overly upset by it because I still thoroughly enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, take your parents to go see it. Like, it is enjoyable. It's did they like it? I think they liked it, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, I took my mum to see it. I watched it first with a friend, and then I was like, my mum needs to see this, and I went and took her to it, and she loved it. She thought it was great.
Yeah. Did she say it exactly?
like mother, like son. She went, I thought it was great.
And then you looked at it and you were like, I wonder where I get it from.
I punched her in the head.
I said, what would Jacob think? He's going to bully you. Can I take I want to go on a little side note, but before we do, any final thoughts on?
I was just thinking we've probably got to wrap up on Toy Story.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yep.
I'm a huge Toy Story fan. I think it's Pixar's best work. I always will. It's what they started with. It's their baby. It's their wonderful creation, and I will honestly, if they do decide to make more movies after this, I will probably have more faith in them now after seeing what they've done with this.
Yeah.
So yeah, even if this is the last one, it's a great ending. If they make more, I'll go fucking see it.
It's probably the best Pixar film since Toy Story 3.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen Coco yet, but I've heard lots of good things about it. But...
It's good. I watched it for the first time a couple of months back.
Yeah.
But go on your tangent, little man.
It's about Toy Story. I was just thinking about particularly the first Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
Is it weird that I actually felt really bad for Sid in the first Toy Story? Can I just talk about it for a moment?
Well, you just... Okay, yeah, go for it.
Because
explain yourself.
Because he's the villain in the story,
mm-hmm.
but he's an accidental villain, and so the toys are designed or like act in a way where they're concealing their identity to everyone.
Yes.
So when people think that they can get away with something, they'll do it. That's why Sid always is blowing up toys. He's having fun. He's like being destructive. He's a kid.
Yeah.
Having fun, even if it is kind of fucked up in a weird way. But but you feel bad for the toys because they're going through such a horrible bit of torment.
Yeah.
But I used to get really kind of upset for Sid at the end when
they all like attack him.
When they all attack him, they all come to life and
so play nice.
Yeah, that scene and Sid runs inside. He's
that's
all
freaky as well.
It's freaky. Like, it's funny, but I remember just as a kid, that kind of thinking, this poor fucking
Jesus
kid.
Christ.
Like, I know we were supposed to feel bad for the toys and hate and kind of hate this character, but I'm like, this kid doesn't know any better. It's kind of your guys' fault. You guys are alive.
Yeah, all these toys come to life and they're jumping on him.
So play. Yeah, and then they're all they've genuinely messed him up.
Woody's doing the like horror movie thing where his head starts spinning.
He's doing The
around.
Exorcist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny in retrospect. But I remember as a kid, like, I don't know whether or not it was just me being ultra sensitive, but I used to think like
Little pussy.
poor. I was like, poor Sid. He just doesn't know any better, and he didn't. In that regard, do you reckon he deserved it?
Yeah.
See, I don't
Only
think so.
because I sympathize with the toys.
Yes, but Sid didn't know any better. Like, do you reckon if Woody pleaded for his life and he was like, "Don't kill us, please," do you reckon he would be like, oh, "Okay, I'll stop it," or like? So instead they're like, "Let's fuck up this kid."
I guess he'd probably still have the same effect. He'd freak out and scream and run away.
Yes, but but let him down easy is what I'm saying. they got to be carried away is what I'm saying.
I just need to go on a tangent as well. Just the fact we went to EB Games today and found a pop vinyl of, speaking of the first Toy Story, of Mrs. Nesbit. And it's wonderful. I just wanted to bring up that scene because it's the greatest thing.
I quote it on the daily. But yeah, that's Toy Story 4.
That's Toy Story 4.
Final rating from me is a 7.
A 7?
Yes.
I'll give it a 9.
Well, I'd say 7.5, but yeah, 7 just because some of those things do detract it. But
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. It's a 9 from me. It's Toy Story. I'm yet to see a Toy Story movie that I would not pop in at any moment of the day and enjoy.
Exactly. We all want to pop in a Buzz and Woody, don't we? So,
What's next on the agenda, Jacob?
oh no!
Oh shit! I've got to edit that out.
See, this is what I meant when I said can we not use our names for the first time we ever did this podcast, and I said, can we Kill Bill it? And you were like, I don't know what that means, so I showed him Kill Bill.
Oh
the other
yeah,
night.
we just watched Kill Bill in volume 1 and 2.
And they bleeped out the real name of Uma Thurman's character, and I was like, can you do that for us? And you were like, no.
Yeah, I understand the reason why, because 99% of the time when I say your name, I say your first and last name. I've had to train myself on the podcast not to do that, but we finally have slipped up. Not that they will know because I would have beeped it.
Yes.
But I'm sorry, Jacob.
I'm gonna write a post-it note on your desk just so you remember to do that.
I'll listen to it. I was just thinking, I was listening to us talk, and I was like, do I need to edit this one, or can I just upload this without actually having to edit it? And then I've done that.
Do you want me to give you my my credit card as well, and my home address, and
Please.
yes. For all those who are wondering, my 3 numbers on the back of the card, I'm gonna need you to put some blanks.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Wow.
They really enjoyed the part where you did those movements with your hands that they could totally see.
Those movies were for you, baby. But next on the agenda is
Yes.
slow dancing. Fuck. What was the other movie we watched? Spider-Man.
Spider-Man: Far From Home. Jacob, what do we think of Spider-Man films?
In general,
Actually, no, I'm going to take back that statement because you're just going to upset me. Jacob, what do we think of the character Spider-Man?
he's a very endearing character, and I like him.
We like him. What did you think of Spider-Man: Far From Home?
I missed an opportunity there.
What?
Like, I could have said he's a menace, but yeah, Spider-Man: Far From Home. It was good.
Just good? It
I might say very good.
was fucking great, Jacob.
I'm not being reserved for no reason. It was good, but and I'm trying to be honest here. It was just good.
It was fucking great, Jacob.
It was good.
You're a fool.
There are great moments in it, but
Yeah,
it was
like
overall the product was good.
there was one great moment in particular, which was, I'm trying to come up like a rough time frame, was from basically 0 seconds to around the 2 hours 30-minute mark, was when the greatness ended. Because the whole movie was great, Jacob. It was so fucking good. I also went and saw that twice. I took my mum to see it the second time. and she thought it was great. There it is. Say the line, Bart.
I thought it was great. Yay! Oh man. Spider-Man: Far From Home is probably the best Spider-Man film since 2, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, except for
Spider-Verse.
discounting Spider-Verse, the best
Best live action.
best live action one. Yeah.
What do you think is the best Spider-Man film? Period.
Ooh, it's a toss-up between Verse and 2.
Same.
Yeah.
I think Verse might. I don't know. I've been saying lately that Verse is the best one, but 2's such a good movie.
I think Verse relies heavily on our knowledge of the character. So
True.
And movies before it. So
Yeah. And then again, so does 2. It relies on you having seen the first movie.
well, if that's the only requirement, then
Well, you only really, I would say, to enjoy Spider-Verse. Actually, you don't have to have seen any Spider-Man movie, but to get an extra giggle, you can watch Spider-Man 2 and 3,
well, yeah.
and then you get an extra little reference. That's about it. Spider-Man: Far From Home is the movie we're actually talking about.
Yes. You know what didn't disappoint about the film beforehand, Spider-Man: Homecoming?
Yes.
Is I thought people had always been talking about how shit Marvel villains are, and how they only had Loki. Well, the Vulture, and aside from Thanos as well, but
Yeah.
but that was after the fact. But when Homecoming came out, I remember thinking, wow, they actually did Vulture really, really good.
Yeah, he's one of their most fully realized villains, I think, that they've done.
Yeah, and fully understandable.
Mm-hmm.
Like
He's got lots of screen time. You understand his motivations, why he does what he does.
Yes.
He's entertaining to watch. He's got a fantastic twist that I do not want to spoil because it's probably my favorite part of the movie.
yes,
Yeah, he's wonderful. He's Michael Keaton, dude.
and he's threatening.
Yes.
Like we have dark elves going and shooting shit, and it's just that's not really as threatening and menacing. That's boring. It's been to death, but just Michael Keaton
just doing his thing.
doing his thing is amazing. And once again, I think we've proven that it must be just Spider-Man and just the Spider-Man characters, that because we have a great villain here
Yes.
with another great twist.
Yes, we do.
I mean, comic book fans would know what the twist is, but like general audiences are like, oh,
Yeah, it wasn't like a surprise to anyone who is familiar with the characters at all, but still wonderful, fully realized villain. Wonderful film, Jacob.
and a wonderful integration of how should you say, a cinematic universe?
Yes.
Yes.
Very true. It had a lot of interaction with other Marvel films in it, but didn't just feel like a stupid fucking Marvel movie, I guess.
And it didn't rely too heavily on
Yeah.
on those things.
Yeah, it didn't feel like you... I was going to say it didn't feel like you have to have seen all these other films. You don't really, but I think it does help, so I'm going to retract that statement.
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal's in it.
Yes, as the villain, as Mysterio, sorry.
Mysterion, the fucking South Park character. Yes. Jake Gyllenhaal, if you've ever listened to the first episode, you'll know he's the first thing we ever discussed on this podcast. Because I think we brought up Spider-Man, and then we went, oh, there's a new Spider-Man movie coming out next year. Oh, Jake Gyllenhaal's in it. Wow, he's very attractive. Do you think that movie's going to be any good? I don't know. Well, we've seen it now. Jake Gyllenhaal's attractive as ever. And he's great. I thought he was great, Jake. I'm really going all in on this line today.
You know what's funny? Actually, if I talk about that, I'd be going into spoiler territory. But the subtlety in his performance, you aren't quite sure about him.
Yeah. I remember saying this as soon as I finished watching it. I was watching this movie and I was wondering why Jake Gyllenhaal was in this movie, because he was doing a fairly reserved, plain performance.
Yeah, like they just needed a guy to play a guy.
Yeah. And I was like, he's such a high-profile actor. Why is he in this? And then it clicks, and I was like, there he is. There's Jake Gyllenhaal.
The reason why he signed on.
Yes.
Yeah, because Jake Gyllenhaal, like he doesn't seem like he's a fairly reserved guy in real life.
Yeah.
But like and not exactly like the charming sort of Chris Evans or Robert Downey Jr. type, but like he's just kind of a nice guy. But as an actor, he's always good at playing just fairly out there.
Yeah.
I don't say weird, but like cuckoo.
Yeah.
A bit fucking insane. So
I love Jake Gyllenhaal so much. I don't think I've ever watched a movie of his that I haven't like loved him in it at least.
well, that's I actually if that's the case, you really need to watch Enemy then.
I do. I'll happily watch anything that he's in.
He does take off his shirt and fuck someone, so that will give us both much
Ooh.
pleasure.
Ooh, he takes off his shirt in Prince of Persia as well. Which, fuck everybody. Prince of Persia is way better than everyone says it is.
I actually haven't seen it.
I don't understand why people don't like it. It's not very faithful to the games, but I mean, people that have never played the games also don't like it, and I don't know why. I think it's a fun little adventure movie.
Plus, there was the whole racial issue about casting,
Yeah.
where we got. Well, to be fair, like if I remember, he's Swedish. Ben Kingsley is in it, but he's not Iranian either.
Mm-hmm.
He's Indian. I think he's Indian. Yeah,
Is he?
Well, yeah, he's half Indian.
Huh.
And another character was like Venezuelan or something like that. I think she was like
Gemma Arterton is in it. I don't know where she's from.
yeah.
She's
So-
British, isn't she?
So no Persians, no actual Persians are in the film. So
True.
Can you get away with it? I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, it's based on the game The Sands of Time, where everyone speaks with British accents anyway. It's already tainted blood.
Well, when everyone speaks in a British accent in the film, you can just tell it's because they didn't want to do the accent. That's Chernobyl. Chernobyl is set in the Ukraine, and everyone's speaking. Well,
Oh, they're not doing like Russian sort of accents?
no, they're just doing well, they're kind of just doing their own accents. They just got a lot of British people in
Oh, okay.
because
Did not know that. I'm still yet to watch Chernobyl.
which is fucking great show.
Mm-hmm.
Is it as good as Spider-Man Far From Home? I don't know. We'll have to see.
From the sounds of things, yes.
Yes, because at no point in Chernobyl did it have such an amazing mid-credit scene. So
Yes, which we can't discuss at all, but it's probably the best part of the whole movie.
we'll just say, as a fan of the character and as a fan of the first,
As a fan of just the Spider-Man films in general,
yeah,
amazing.
amazing. I don't usually get excited. Like it's weird. Like I don't get excited in movie theaters anymore. I'm like, that happened.
Jacob's void of all emotion.
But when that happened, I started kind of like a fucking cowboy. Just started slapping my knee real hard. I was like, just in excitement to sort of channel it out. I was like,
Oh yeah, dude. When it happened, when the mid-credit scene happened, I audibly, like I don't usually make much noise, especially because I was sitting in the cinema fucking by myself. I went, no fucking way, like out loud. It was incredible.
it was. It was probably the best moment of the year, and that tanks every other film we've seen.
Yeah, it was wonderful. I feel like we haven't discussed this movie much, and I'm not sure where we actually can go with this.
Some people like the new Spider-Mans, the Disney Spider-Mans, but like I know there's a lot of Raimi. I don't want to say Raimi ties because we like the Raimi films, but like
Yeah, there's a lot of people that I guess it's just what happens when you reboot a franchise constantly. You get new fans for each new iteration,
Yeah.
and they're going to be loyal fans that don't like the new ones. So the Raimi people, diehard Raimi fans, don't like the Web stuff or the Marvel stuff. And then there's people that really like the Web movies who fucking despise Tom Holland's version because they, lost out on their version.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of contempt between the different fan bases within the Marvel movies. I'm someone, because you're someone that's like, I know you like the new ones, but you're mostly a fan of the Raimi ones, whereas I'm someone that's just a scum-sucking fucking Spider-Man fan that will enjoy any fucking Spider-Man you throw at me, it seems, because even the worst of the worst Spider-Man films, I will happily watch.
you'll just slurp that shit up.
I will. Amazing Spider-Man 2, give that film a fucking Oscar, I'll love it. I understand that it's garbage, but I fucking love it.
That film is the equivalent of like fucking Sloppy Seconds. It is sloppy. It is Sloppy Seconds incarnate as a fucking movie. I cannot believe you like Sloppy Seconds Spider-Man 2. The amazing Sloppy Seconds.
I'm sorry, I'm a bad person, but I really like it.
It's the one film I keep giving you shit about. Like
You always have.
I will refrain from. I will be more.
Delicate?
I'm raising my right hand at the moment. And I'm going to put it on my heart. I will respect your opinion on any movie, even if we disagree about it.
Mm-hmm.
From now on, but I will to this day still keep giving you shit for liking the Amazing Spider-Man 2. So.
See, I've come to terms with it now. I used to be really upset that you didn't like the movie. I was like, why don't you like it, Jacob? And I slowly realized that nobody likes it. Except one other friend that I have. No, two other friends that I know really like it. Like, it's their favorite Spider-Man film. Need to get better friends. But I don't know what it is. We keep talking about other Spider-Man films, though. Far From Home is also a good movie, despite the fact that we seem to be more interested in talking about literally any other movie right now.
Right. It's got some. It's kind of like Doctor Strange in a way, where a lot of the great actiony moments aren't actually what we think they are.
Yeah. Mysterio is the master of illusions.
Yes.
And there are scenes involving illusions that are just visually wonderful.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Fuck with your head a bit.
Yeah.
But also it's I think this is the reason why I think this is kind of the point, is that the reason why I was bringing up the fact that there's a rift in the Spider-Man communities of all these, like, the Raimi fans and the Webb fans and the Holland fans, is that these at least with the Webb films and the Raimi films.
I like that we say the Raimi fans, the Webb fans, and the Holland fans. We go the director's fans, and then this actor's fans.
I don't know who directed.
I think Tom Yates or David Yates.
Really?
Something Yates.
The guy did the Harry Potter Deathly Hallows movies.
No, that's David Yates, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think his name's Tom Yates then.
Right.
But anyway.
But
we'll start saying Maguire, Garfield, and Holland.
Garfield.
Yeah, sorry. Go on your thought.
But yeah, I think even Raimi fans, Maguire fans respect the Garfield movies to a certain extent, is even though the shit about it they hate.
Mm-hmm.
But it tried to incorporate and still kept the central theme of why Spider-Man is the character he is.
Yeah.
Because of his loss, because of the big heftiness of responsibility.
So you think that they don't like the New Holland ones because they skip over that?
Yeah.
I think the reason they did that, though, is because we've already seen his origin story twice, and
Yes.
we all know it already. We don't need to see it again.
Yeah. I understand it, but like, yeah, they try to. It feels very. I will say this about some of the casting, about some of the jokes, about some of the setups from Homecoming and from this film. It does feel very, and because it's with such a young cast, it feels very Disney Channel-ish.
It's definitely an MCU movie with its humor.
Yes.
But yeah, well, I mean, I think it's good that they've got a really young cast because he's a teenager. The one thing that I will say about the previous 5 films before he went into the MCU is that they're all 40-year-old men going to high school.
On that note, they done right, but I think the most emotional, like, you don't have to do the whole Uncle Ben story over and over again. Fair enough, but like even so, the Homecoming and Far From Home, even though they've got some emotional moments, it's they're very lacking on that, and people sort of miss the heftiness of the Raimi and the Garfield movies. But I appreciate that they would probably want to do something different. So they made Homecoming just kind of just straight up comedy.
Yeah. On the other end of the scale, though, because we've both said probably the best live action since Spider-Man 2, is that I do think it definitely captures the feel of Spider-Man as a character more in this film that I haven't seen since Spider-Man 2. Because Spider-Man as a character is a guy that just never catches a break. He wants to do right, and he does do right. He saves the day and all these things, but it's always at a cost to his own personal life. He just...
Yeah, that's the most Spider-Man 2-ish thing about it.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2, he just gets destroyed the entire movie. Just nothing goes his way. You feel really bad for him. And this film, not to the same extent, but it's very fast-paced and things always going wrong for him in the movie.
Yes.
He's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to juggle his responsibilities and try and live a normal life, and just constantly is just getting bad.
Yeah.
Bad results.
I will admit this about it. Like, I think it might have been handled in Spider-Man 2 better, because he's struggling to... It's kind of like... I don't know why I brought up I'm going to bring up Hannah Montana, but it's
struggle of the best of both worlds.
Struggle of the best of both worlds, essentially.
That's a perfect analogy.
But with But with this film, it just kind of seemed that he didn't want to be Spider-Man at all, which I thought that from everything we've seen, well, it's probably just he just wanted to go on a holiday.
Yeah.
Which is the big thing. He's just kind of like, I want to go on a holiday and I want to forget about everything for about a week, and then
focus on this chick that I like.
Focus on this chick and I like. Just focus on myself. Just catch a break. But
because he's had a very stressful last couple of Avengers movies, he needs a break.
He does, and for that reason, you feel bad for him. But like it does make him seem a little bit selfish. Where you're like, where in Spider-Man 2 it was like he didn't seem selfish. He just seemed like you understood it more.
Yeah.
With this, it's just like the world's gonna end. Oh, I want to go talk to MJ. It's like, really? I know,
well, he's a teenager.
I know it sucks, but yeah, it's like it was probably done a little bit better in Spider-Man 2. It's still good. Like you understand the pain that Peter's going through because he's just a kid. He just wants to be with his friends.
He wants to live a normal life. He didn't ask for all this responsibility that a lot of the other characters are enforcing on. They keep bringing it up as well. It's like, Peter, you need to save us. Peter, you need to be doing this because you have these powers. Peter, why are you so fucking shit?
Yeah, like I think this will be a point of contention that people will bring up in to attack the film is in Avengers Infinity War, all he wanted to do was kind of, fuck school life.
Yeah, he just wants to be an Avenger.
He just wants to be an Avenger. Now it's the opposite. He wants to be just like a kid again. And
I think because of what happened to him through those films, though, he's realized
he just needs
he's in over his head. Because he wants to, because it's the whole thing in Homecoming as well. He wants to be, he feels like he could be doing something more. He does something more, and he's like, oh shit.
To that I'd say I understand why they think that, but I think the reason why I wasn't too upset about it is because it's probably the reason he wanted to do this whole trip and focus on getting the girl, getting the weird cunt MJ, and is probably one, because it was too much responsibility, but two, it was probably the guilt he felt.
Yeah.
So he's just like, I want to get away. I want to get away. I just want to relax. So you understand it, because like which is kind of, it's kind of a shame when you have a cinematic universe, because like you can't really watch the trilogy without watching certain other films to understand the character, because like it's funny.
Going from Homecoming to Far From Home isn't the same as going from Homecoming to Infinity War to Endgame to Far From Home. This is also why I brought up the Raimi fans, is because when they say that the Spider-Man movies or the Spider-Man shit in the MCU, or it's lame or whatever, I think they might have a point to a certain extent, because the most emotional, best stuff, like dramatically, that happens with Spider-Man is in a different film.
Yeah, not about him. And to be fair, like when, I guess people have seen Infinity War by this point, but like when Spider-Man, air quotes, bites the bullet, people were crying. I remember when in the theater, like people were crying, and I was like, "This isn't even his own film."
I know.
People were crying.
It's most like his peak emotional moment in this franchise.
Which I can understand, like people can get annoyed, or like, "Oh, why aren't the films like that?" But his own films like that. But if it's going to be a cinematic universe, then each, like you can't just have like the characters go through their journeys
every single film.
In their just in their own films.
Yeah. Because then in the crossover films, they have no point in being there, I guess.
Yes, other than to fight the bad guy, which is
not how you make a good movie, really.
Yeah, because other than that,
that's how you make Justice League, not how you make Avengers: Infinity War. What do you think of Peter and MJ? Do you like it or do you not like it?
It's okay. Like it's probably more of a healthy relationship than in the Raimi films, but
I mean, more like
I don't like the MJ character, because like, well, she was heaps fucking annoying in Homecoming.
She was weird. Whereas in this one, I kind of liked her. I thought I liked their chemistry, because they're both just weird, awkward people. I know my mum hated her, but my mum didn't even remember what happened in Homecoming. She was like, "Is this a new character?" And I was like, "No, Mum."
Yeah, it just felt, because in Homecoming she just felt like antagonistic and sassy for no reason, and I was like, oh. Like, I get it, it's probably because she likes secretly likes Peter, but I
Yeah, I did
the-
actually notice. I rewatched Homecoming a couple of weeks ago, and you do notice she does actually look at him like a lot in the background of shots. She'll always be like dropping a glance at him. I was like, yeah.
It's cute. I didn't really like it. Like even though I think the romance in the Raimi films, especially by Spider-Man 3, at that point got really fucking deranged and toxic.
Yeah, not a good couple at all.
Not a good couple. When Spider-Man and MJ in Spider-Man 2 got together at the end, it was so uplifting. Even though you're like, oh yes, finally Peter got his dream girl.
Yeah.
In this, I was like, oh yeah, Peter got his not his dream girl, but Peter got the girl in the end. But didn't feel as
I mean, it's
uplifting.
I don't know. It's just a girl in high school.
Yeah, just a girl in high school, and she's just sort of weird.
But I did think it was cute.
Yeah. It was that's it.
I thought it was cute.
I thought it was cute.
Now, we need to wrap up on Spider-Man. We've got one more film to discuss. Actually, speaking of Sam Raimi...
Yes. Can I also just quickly mention that the teacher characters in Far From Home I fucking hated. That's about it. All right. Last mention, I'm going to give that also about a 7 out of 10.
I'm going to give it a 9.5.
A 9.5. Wow, that's an endearing...
Spider-Man's epic.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's cool. But yeah, speaking of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, we also watched a film that he didn't direct, but he produced.
In Serbia, apparently.
Yeah, the entire credits was just talking about Serbia the whole time, and there was just every single person's last name ended with the letters VIC. Vic. Or NIC?
VIC and...
Or was it DIC?
I
don't know. There was Vics everywhere, man. We watched Crawl. We just watched it earlier today. What'd you think, Jacob?
I loved it.
I
liked it.
It was really enjoyable. So if you don't know what Crawl is, it's a film about a girl who is going to go rescue her father from a Category 5 hurricane in Florida. Her dad's not answering her calls, so she's wondering if he's still in the building. So she goes there to go get him, and all hell breaks loose, and there's alligators everywhere. Cue a pretty fucking enjoyable horror movie.
It is. It's when people say that it's the Jaws with alligators. Not quite.
Not quite.
But it does what Jaws did for. I think it will do what Jaws did for sharks, or what it they're still filmed with alligators, but it's just for like even just it's not high budget, but even just as like a midsummer, just straight up horror thriller action piece, like set piece, it works.
It's very simple but good. Very effective,
and it's very claustrophobic because it's all set within like the confines of one house. The alligators are terrifying a lot of the time.
Yeah.
They're a bit I don't want to say goofy, but they're a bit inconsistent every now and then. And I mean in every sense of the word, which we'll get into. But very serviceable drama. Like girl estranged from father needs father to encourage her, etc. etc. They get back together.
Yeah, it really gives you all. It gives you all that you need. It doesn't try to go overboard on making you care for people, but
it's
it doesn't.
Not pretentious. It knows what it is.
Exactly. It's very self-aware of what it is. It's people have come to see a movie where people are getting attacked by alligators, and you'll get what you came for. And yeah, exactly, it's fun.
Yeah, it's not like it's not what you get what you came for. Like in the sense like here's some schlock bullshit.
No. But it's definitely. I mean, I felt like I definitely got what I wanted out of it, though.
Yes. It's the best way I'd describe it is it's satisfying, satisfying tension, satisfying drama, satisfying effects, satisfying violence.
I mentioned that to you that I thought the movie was only rated M, so I was pleasantly surprised when I was seeing people like getting ripped limb from limb.
So it's set in Florida.
Yeah, Florida man.
I did enjoy there was a part at the beginning where she's listening to the radio and there's a bunch of hicks saying, "Why can't we shoot guns up into the hurricane?
It's dangerous."
just sounds very.
Another
Florida.
gator, give me that shovel. Actually, he does attack one with a shovel at one point,
Yeah.
channeling his inner Monsters Inc.
Then there's just purple blood rises to the top of the water. And you're like, oh shit, 'twas Randall. Yeah.
Oh shit, we killed Steve Buscemi.
It's just these buggy poppy eyes just pop to the top of the water. Like, oh.
Sorry, say what you were gonna say.
Good film.
Good film.
Good.
Is that all you had to say? About it?
Good tension.
Run through the plot and then go. Good film. Thank you all for listening.
I'm normally a very kind of timid, edgy person, and I mean edgy like as in like I tell
9/11 jokes.
9/11 jokes, but like kind of a lot of time on edge. So normally a jump scare like it'll get me not because like oh it's so scary. It was because like oh my body's going into shock because bang. But
Yeah.
I will say there was some decent jump scary moments.
Yeah, as far as jump scares go, because I'm not a big fan of jump scares because I think they're very, well, you can use them well, but generally they are the lowest form of horror because they're the most obvious way of getting a reaction out of people. People seem to go fucking crazy for jump scares. They're like, that was the scariest movie I've ever seen.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
It's just cheap.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought the jump scares in this one, yeah, they were pretty effective. They didn't rely on over the top music and sound effects. Just like they generally did have a loud noise accompanying them, but made sense in the context of the film.
Yeah.
Like if an alligator is going to attack you, it's going to like launch and like snap at you. So it makes sense for that to like fucking shock you. Yay.
Well, it's, even with other films when they do a jump scare, if it's a false jump scare, they'll do an annoying music cue.
Yeah,
and like
because otherwise you wouldn't have been scared by it.
Yeah. Well, there's sometimes like even a false jump scare can be kind of scary. Like you got the
Halloween.
Halloween. I don't say, well, the thing. Me, Halloween's the greatest example of it. We're like, oh, shit. I think it's very very a product of like the 90s to do like a that sort of fake out jump scare thing where loud music, but then it's nothing really scary. It's just you're scared because loud music came on.
Yeah.
As opposed to if something actually kind of terrifying is happening, then loud music accompanying it, which is okay sometimes, but a lot of times it can kind of ruin it. But
it's just the way horror movies have gone in recent years.
Yeah, definitely. But this wasn't. It wasn't music that was accompanying like the jump scares. It was just a sound like the gators growl or like I don't know, banging pipes. Shit.
There was like one bit where there was just the flash of lightning and thunder at the same time.
Yes.
Which I noticed sent Jacob flying back into his chair.
I was readjusting myself in the seat, man.
That was probably the most enjoyment I got was seeing you jump a few times. Because generally jump scares don't really get me. Occasionally, but for the most part they don't get me. But still, I was like, "Oh, that was good. I liked that." Sorry, no, you go.
I was gonna say I liked the lead performances are pretty good.
That's actually what I was gonna say. Okay. The only thing I've seen the lead, Kaya Scudelario or something.
Scuttle malaria. I don't know.
Kaya Cuttlefish Malaria.
Kayak Cuttlefish Malaria.
The only thing I've seen her in is the Maze Runner trilogy.
Yeah, that's all I remember.
Which are not good movies at all. But no, I liked her in this.
Yep.
So clearly it was just the fact that she was given shitty movies.
Yeah. Barry Pepper's in the movie.
Barry Pepper's in it. He was good as well.
Yep.
Other nameless people were in it.
Other nameless Florida men show up.
other I was about to say cannon fodder, but gator fodder, I guess.
Gator food.
Gator food were in the movie. But the two leads, because they're the ones you spend all the time with, they were really enjoyable.
The only thing I'd critique about their performances is at multiple points when they get bit or have something removed or get in pain or in pain about something, in real life they would be in fucking agony.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But instead they're kind of like, ow, that hurt, and then just kind of move on a bit.
I'm actually just going to quickly go on a tangent here and bring this up about Kill Bill that we watched the other night.
Yeah.
She got shotgunned in the chest and they didn't seem to acknowledge it ever again in the film. She just had blood on her chest. She seemed to be fine the entire movie.
You mean that she was she okay with it, or do you mean like was she?
She didn't seem to react
Because it was
or be in pain the entire movie.
because it was rock salt. It wasn't actually like
It wasn't.
It wasn't a bullet. She didn't literally get shotgunned in the chest with like a slug.
Oh.
It was rock salt, so it stung the shit out of her. That's why she was just crying.
There was
She was like,
blood pouring out of her though.
"Oh yeah, it went into her skin, but it just blew her back. It didn't It didn't just rip a hole in her."
Okay. All right. Anyway, back to
He said he said multiple times, "I shot her with rock salt, man."
yeah, but I didn't realize that was literal. I thought that was just him.
Some fucking hick statement. Yeah, I got rock salt. Shot
Yeah, I figured that was just another way of saying shot her with a shotgun.
maybe he stunned her, but really fucking.
He's using
painfully.
shotgun shells.
Using shotgun shells filled with rock salt.
Okay.
But
well, back to Crawl.
can I talk about the alligators for a moment?
Yes. I know you had things you wanted to say.
Every now and then, I think the effects are pretty are kind of serviceable because they use mostly CG. There's some great moments with the effects, and there's some other moments where they kind of look a bit hokey,
Yeah.
especially some kind of underwaterish moments. But
Jacob's been rubbing his legs the entire episode. I hope you've been enjoying listening to it.
aggressively rubbing my shin.
Yeah, he's just been aggressively rubbing the bulge over his pants.
And making intense eye contact with Lachlan and
See, Jacob, you know how earlier I pulled you up for making motions that no one could see?
yeah.
That was the one point where you didn't have to make those motions. After I mentioned it, he started grabbing his cock. He pulled it out and he slapped me across the face with it. I didn't like it. I'd say probably 90% of the film, the effects were pretty much flawless. There's only a couple of moments. Sorry, I'll let you get back to your alligator point in a sec. My issue, because there's one or two shots of the alligators that are a bit iffy, but they're passable. And my only issue is there's just one fucking shot, and I don't know why they put it in the movie, where a bunch of spiders fall on her face and crawl around, and it just looks terrible. It didn't add much to the movie either. It could have just not been in the movie because it looked really bad.
They were really weird looking spiders.
They look like clip art spiders.
They look like daddy long legs. I don't know why she was having a fucking hard time with them, but
Anyway, tell us about your alligator problems.
my alligator problem. I think it might be just. This is a problem with just modern day horror, and with whenever they have like a creature feature and they need to use a CG for a creature. The good thing about older films, even though like some of the puppetry and stop motion or whatever they used back then is a bit hokey, there was a believability to them because of their weight to it.
Yeah.
So if a dinosaur was breaking through a window, it was a prop breaking through a window. The alligators at some point in the film do some very frantic actions, and that's more of an issue with the way it's animated, because alligators don't move that fast.
Yeah, they're very slow, like lumbering sort of creatures, I guess.
To a certain extent, but like it's like they're not the clown from It. They're not. they're, just, they're not going crazy. So like and it sort of takes you out a bit when we've seen alligators before. Like you can watch a video of like people at the zoo taking photos of alligators and shit, and you know like when an alligator is going after something, it doesn't move that fast, and so like it's done to be very stylized. So like this is scary, the alligator's coming, but like it takes you out a bit.
Yeah, sure.
What do you think?
I'm just gonna apologize for my laptop making a noise just before.
That is okay. Your laptop, I'll give it a serious beating with my bare cock tomorrow.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, but yeah, I don't think it took me out of the experience at all.
To be fair, there's only a few moments like that. It's when we first see the alligator. It does like this little like frantic CG sprint at someone, and it's like that looked kind of hokey.
But it
moved hokey. Like
it was a good entrance though.
It was a good entrance. It was a scary entrance, but
I know.
It kind of reminded me of what's it called, Alien Covenant. This is where the CG point is. In Alien Covenant, the alien looked like the model and the textures and like the way it's composited into the scene looked really good. But did you like when you were watching the film? Did you notice like something off about it?
Not really.
I noticed it just seemed like the alien was very in a weird way over animated. if that's even a word. It's where the way it moved didn't feel very convincing.
Okay.
And I think that's just a staple of just creature feature movies nowadays, where like they over animate the creature.
Yeah.
Happens a bit here. Not too much though, but it is something that annoys me.
They still did some fantastic work with their effects though. The hurricane in particular.
The hurricane was probably the scariest part in the whole fucking
I know.
movie.
The storm, the effects of the storm, the entire film, like, it just looks real the entire film. It's very, 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 very well done.
Yes.
It's one of these films where I watch and I'm like, how the fuck do you make this shit?
Yeah, obviously they didn't go to Florida
during a hurricane.
during a hurricane.
It's got to be like
They went to Serbia during the middle of the hurricane.
It's got to be pretty much entirely CG, apart from probably like some practical rain effects and the use of actual water. But yeah, it's movie magic, man.
Movie magic, yeah. The other thing I want to point out about the alligators is their varying strength throughout the film, because I don't know, you don't know much about alligators, but just crocodiles and alligators in general, when they bite down into something,
They're super strong.
they're super strong. So when she first gets bitten by them, it's just a nick.
Yeah,
It's like she's cut open her leg a bit. It's
it
like,
happens a few times.
It happens a few times. We're thinking she would have been because it gets her, and it would have snapped her leg.
Mm-hmm.
It would have. And then when you see the other kind of like expendable characters show up, they're just getting fucking ripped apart.
Yeah.
So it's
She's wearing plot armor, dude.
she's wearing plot armor. It's unfortunate with that kind of animal, because that kind of animal, it doesn't really doesn't slice, doesn't dice, it doesn't. Its main method of killing things is by just fucking breaking something with its mouth.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, it doesn't have sharp teeth, but it's got a crushing like jaw.
It's got a crushing jaw, so like it might deflate. It might ruin some of the emotion and tension a bit by having the animal not bite her at all or interact with her at all.
Yeah.
So, but then again, you kind of ruin the emotion a bit by having it bite her leg and just kind of scratch it a bit. It's like, no, her leg would be broken.
It's a difficult thing because, if it doesn't actually do any damage to her at all, then there's less tension.
Yeah.
But if you have it fucking rip a limb from limb, then you've got no movie.
Yeah. And a character does get ripped limb from limb at one point. But like the alligators at one point are strong enough to burst through wood, not strong enough to burst through pipe, like metal pipe.
Yeah.
Strong enough to burst through glass at one point, but not strong enough to burst through a glass sheet in a shower, like a shower door.
Yes.
So yeah, that's where the tension got ruined a little bit for me. It's like, what can they break?
Yeah.
How strong are they?
And that really, the only explanation is just because movie.
Because movie. Like, yeah, it's serviceable, it's satisfying, it's fun. It's you'd buy it on Blu-ray, Jeremy Johns.
I will. I'm sure I'll buy this because I want to watch it again. We've kind of talked fairly negatively about it.
Oh yeah,
but it was fucking great.
Yeah, it was really tense, really well done. It's just there's a few.
They're fairly minor.
Yeah, these are all minor points. Like,
Yeah.
I love the movie, but like, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
it's a lot of fun.
a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
I thought it was great.
Unless we want to end it there, I would also like. Speaking of fake rain.
Yes.
Speaking of fake rain, we just watched Space Cop, and
Thanks, Red Letter Media.
thank you for wasting 100 minutes of our time. If I had a Patreon, I would subscribe to you, and then unsubscribe. Actually, I wouldn't use Patreon from the get go, but yeah, you get what I mean. No, good work, guys. You did well.
It was a wonderful mixed bag of entertainment.
It was. It was like an M&M's big mixed bag. You get the good normal milk chocolate kind, and then you bite down hard into a shitty peanut butter one.
You don't like peanut M&Ms?
I do. I just
Peanut M&Ms are the best M&Ms.
they're the only two I know of. That's like watching Space Cop. It's a bowl of M&Ms, mixed M&Ms, and you might just grab something you like, or you might get a mouthful of nuts. Thanks for watching.
I hope you enjoyed this episode that has been nothing but talking about film. We usually mix it up with some other stories, but it's fucking like 2 a.m. We're very tired. Why did you record then? Why didn't you wait until... because I wanted to capitalize on having Jacob here so that I can edit the podcast less. Yes. So hopefully this might actually release... No, I'm not going to do this to myself. If I set a time frame...
Sweetie, don't do it to yourself.
If I set a time frame, it's going to come out in December. That's just how things go. But hopefully, because you've been here, sitting next to me, maybe this won't take as much time to edit, and we can try and get this podcast out really quickly, and then get another episode out soon after. Because we've always wanted to, do schedules with it, but it's just been too difficult. We're busy men. Busy lives. We've got shit to do. We got papers. Yeah, like watching Space Cop on Blu-ray. You're welcome, Red Letter Media. I gave you a bunch of fucking money. I didn't have anywhere to go from there. Thanks everyone for listening. Just a reminder that the podcast on iTunes, if that's still a thing.
Goodbye, farewell. Rest in peace, iTunes.
Go follow us on Instagram. We don't have Instagram.
Oh shit! Now I got to set up an Instagram.
Go follow us on Twitter is what I meant to say. We have our own personal accounts. We have a Discheads account where we post stupid fucking memes about ourselves because we're that egotistical.
And could you please donate to my Patreon? I really need the money to sew back up my gooch. It finally happened.
That's patreon.com/Jacob.
Jacob. Oh. Why didn't you send it to my GoFundMe? Jacob lives at